Hello everybody, welcome back to C&S Corvettes in beautiful sunny Sarasota, Florida. It's your Corvette buddy Lyle here to talk to you about more interesting, exciting, and hopefully helpful Corvette stuff. Today, my friends, we are going to delve into that one time that GM introduced a racetrack-ready version of the Corvette for people like you and me. Unfortunately, it never got offered to the public, but the idea was fantastic. Hey guys, in our last video, we talked about why GM doesn't do a factory-built grassroots racing or less than professional racing version of the Corvette that could be in a spec racing series or an SCCA. Why haven't they done that? Well, back in 2010, they did that. Now, they only built one of them, and they brought it to the SEMA show in Las Vegas, and it was called the Z06X. So this was a track-only version of the C6 Z06. It was not street legal, didn't have emissions, no safety stuff. Very different from a street-made Z06. The exterior of the car had some really interesting features on it. It was painted in a low-gloss, icy white metallic color with lots of exposed carbon fiber and some red accents. Had the ZR1 carbon fiber roof panel and the B-pillar panels, and also had a custom carbon fiber raised hood from the Z06 Carbon Limited Edition. Also, even the headlights were carbon fiber housings from Spectreworks. As far as the safety and chassis go, there were a lot of changes made, as you would expect on a car that was meant to spend 99.9% of its life on track in some form of competition. It had an SCCA compliant integrated roll cage, full cage all the way around. Didn't have the bolt-in harness bar that we see that people put in for track days. This was a legitimate racing cage. Had a fixed racing bucket seat for the driver's side with a multi-point racing harness, as you would need for racing. It also had tow hooks fore and aft on the car, which are of course a requirement for a car that is going to be in competition. That way, if you run out of talent in the middle of a corner or somebody shunts you off into the wall, they have something to hook onto to drag you back to the pits where you can sit and cry for long periods of time looking at your beautifully wrecked car. This car was also, at least the concept car, included a fire suppression system, which if you aren't a racer, is something that is required by virtually every racing body out there, all the way from Lemons Racing all the way up to IMSA or FIA Racing. Clearly, being a race car, weight reduction was a big part of the plan here. The completely stripped interior. As you can see in the pictures, it had a dash, but a lot of the guts behind the dash had been removed. There was no carpeting, there was no sound deadening, there was no passenger seat. It had a Lexan rear window, very common in race cars. Glass is heavy and glass is fragile, and if somebody bumps you or you touch a wall or something, you don't want your window blowing out and littering the track with glass. So Lexan windows are pretty much standard in any kind of competitive racing. A couple other features of the interior of this concept car was a driver's drink system, which normally consists of a small cooler behind the driver mounted in a bracket with a tube that goes up, and most racing helmets have an integrated drinking system that the driver can bite on something in front of his mouth and then suck in cool water while he's driving. There was a video camera system mounted on the roll cage, and of course, what would be complete without genuine Corvette accessory racing pedals in the driver's footwell. As far as the suspension and handling goes, there was obviously a competition-style adjustable suspension system. It is definitely not OEM, but they never really identified whose system they used. So we have to kind of just guess that this was something that would have been coming from the world of existing racing stuff anyway. It had a track-specific ride height, meaning that this was a very low car. The alignment of the wheels was aggressive as well. The car was equipped with lightweight racing wheels, 19 inches in the front, 20 inches in the back. It had Michelin racing slicks on it, monoball control arm bushings, and adjustable stabilizer bars. One of the biggest things you need on a race car is really good brakes, because if you want to go fast, you have to be able to stop fast. This car was equipped with carbon ceramic brakes based on the Z07 system, had additional ducting beyond the brake Z06 for race-oriented brake cooling. The racing pads, I'm sure, were a racing compound, not a street compound, but again, GM never divulged which pads they used or what compound they chose for that. Aerodynamics, Again, really important, especially at high speeds. This car had a gigantic, large adjustable carbon fiber rear wing, far bigger than anything else that had come from the factory at that point in history. And it is the defining characteristic of the car that just says race car. It had a front splitter, and it had a functional aero balance, which was designed more for downforce, not aesthetics. As you can imagine, when you're running a car hard for hours and hours on end at 10/10ths of its ability, keeping that car cool, not necessarily inside, but at least in the systems in the car, is extremely important. GM built this car for extended track sessions and competition, so it had a very high capacity radiator, additional airflow management, especially rear and underbody. There were coolers for the differential, dedicated coolers for the transmission, all kinds of coolers built in everywhere so that you weren't losing system function at 10/10ths in that critical moment in a race. Powertrain consisted of course, the LS7 7-liter naturally aspirated V8, same engine as in the production Z06. There was no power increase because honestly, 505 horses is plenty for competition. In fact, modern GT cars that you would see at Le Mans or at IMSA, at Daytona, they have somewhere between 5 and 550 horses by law. They can't have more than that. The 6-speed manual transmission was retained. The only real other thing that was included was a low restriction, high flow air intake system to allow the engine to breathe a little bit better. The horsepower gains weren't important. This wasn't a drag racer. This was a circuit track road racing car where high speed acceleration is important, but it's certainly not the only facet that is involved in being successful. So the things that GM specifically didn't confirm was whether that SCCA cage that was installed in the car would also be FIA compliant for higher levels of racing. They never told us what exactly they did with the suspension, what parts were used. There were rumors that some of the parts from the C6R, the actual GT3 race car, had been involved. Now that's never been confirmed. We never found out how much the car actually weighed. We never found out what kind of customer interest they had. Now, from what I have read about this car was a huge hit. And a lot of people stepped right up and said, yes, I already have a street Z06. I love to do track work, and I would love to buy this car to add it to my stable. So I have a Z06 for the street and a Z06 for the track, but never came to fruition. At one point, a GM spokesman talking about this guessed that car would have cost around $200,000. I think that's probably accurate, although it sounds very, very high to me considering how much stuff you aren't getting and how much stuff GM is not putting into the car to provide you with a competitive driving experience. I think that GM, and again, this is my opinion, I want your take on this. What if GM sold a version of the C8 today, Z51 equipped, all the extra coolers, everything that comes with Z51, but with a stripped out interior with just flat door panels on it, no radio, no infotainment, no OnStar, no. And they didn't put a cage in it, and they didn't put the racing seat in it, and they didn't put the fire suppression in it. They left that to the buyer, the new owner, to customize for their needs, their size, and whatever racing league they were in. I imagine you could do that car for much closer to $100,000, and it would just be less of everything, not a bunch of custom stuff. Anyway, that's my take on it. I thought this car was really exciting. Obviously today, here we are, almost 20 years later from the introduction of the C6 Z06, and I see cars that look like this car at the track all the time. So there's definitely a market for this kind of thing. I would just love to see a factory supported race ready version, or at least race preppable version of the C8 made available to people who want to use their cars more on track than on public roads. Give me your thoughts on what you think. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the more interesting and less famous Corvette concepts that have come out in the last few years. Put your comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back with more interesting stuff in just a couple days.